Hey, it's 11:40. The Bet Audacy Sports joining us. I think we could say this is our third or fourth time having him on the show. Friend of the show and the station, Trey Wingo, the Chiefs trends officers at Ceasars Sportsbook. NFL playoffs around the corner. But first, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to start here. Trey, if you could use one word to describe the season the Las Vegas Raiders just had, what would it be?
Disappointing. That has to be it. If I could use more than one word, they can't close. They had so many opportunities, which is really weird because they had like that amazing run of walk-off wins in some of the most ridiculous ways possible. But then they had so many opportunities to just win games and bury teams, and they just couldn't do it. They gave up at least 3 games where they had a 17-point lead or more and lost. Yeah, they just couldn't close. They 3 times this season, they had a game where they had at least a 17-point lead and lost. I think that had happened twice before in the history of the franchise. So if you're looking for the tagline of 2022, it's like, we can't close. That's it.
And Derek Carr went to Instagram. He made it IG official. That's
Deuces.
when you know it's real. Yeah. And he said that he's leaving and it's official. And then it was much expected from the benching. So I guess my first part is, do you think that the Raiders handled that situation as best as possible? Because we talked about this a lot on the show, obviously, but it's like, what divorce do you know that was amicable? Like, you can't, it's not really possible, but do you think the Raiders handle it in the best way?
I just know. It's obvious that they wanted to move on, but I want to throw out some numbers here. Okay. Since Derek Carr became the Raiders quarterback in 2014, here are some of their rankings. Points per game, 32nd, yards per play, 30th, sacks, 32nd, interceptions, 32nd, rush touchdowns, 31st, pass touchdowns, 31st. These are the defensive ranks. 4th down conversions, 31st. So, you can get rid of Derek Carr all you want, but if you don't fix your defense, you're not going to do anything. What did we just talk about? They had 17-point leads 3 times, and they couldn't close. It's easy to look at Derek Carr and say, okay, let's get a new quarterback. Until you fix that defense, which has been a sieve, you're not going to solve anything. So, they were either dead last or next to last in almost every major defensive category. So it's fun to, quarterbacks get all the praise when you win and they get all the blame when they lose. And both of those things probably need to be reevaluated and readjusted.
And it'll lead me into my next question, which obviously, what is this, year 3 of Tom Brady rumors to Las Vegas? There's some people that think this team's far off because of that defense. And it's like, we need to fix this up. And this is going to take more than 1 year, especially in this division, in this conference, in the AFC, which we'll get to here in a second. But would you be all in on Tom Brady?
Yeah, I would be. I think that's going to be the sales pitch. Think about it. Okay. Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady have worked together forever. They have a really good tight end when he's on the field in Darren Waller. And what did Rob Gronkowski tweet out about 3 weeks ago? I'm bored, right? And then someone asked him about it. They said, well, I'm not playing this year, but I might come back next year. When Tom Brady was at his absolute best in New England, Josh McDaniels was his offensive coordinator. He had Rob Gronkowski and another playmaking tight end, whose name we will not mention for a variety of reasons.
It's my cousin. No, it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, really?
No, not really. Just Adrian Hernandez.
Okay.
The guy who won't be named. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. Exactly. So that's how they dominated offensively. Now imagine Darren Waller with Rob, or even Fabian Moreau, for God's sakes. He's been great this year. Put that together with Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow. I think that would be very appealing. Now, the division would obviously be very difficult, but when has Tom Brady, the GOAT, ever shied away from competition? He's the most competitive SOB I've ever met in my life. There's a great story I'll tell you about how competitive he is. When he was with the Patriots once, they were playing a charity basketball game against Foxborough firefighters and policemen. And it was either 2 halves or 4 quarters. Can't remember the game. And they were down. And Tom Brady ripped into his Patriot team and said, "Are you kidding me? We're professional athletes. We're not losing to firefighters and freaking policemen." Okay. Not disrespecting them in their other jobs, but this is what we do. Yeah. And he was just livid, and they went out and won the game. So I don't think he would shy away from competition in the AFC West.
And as we transition out of the Raiders into these playoff teams, I'll leave you with a 2-parter right here. Number one, Should someone on the Raiders have been, how do I put this in the best way possible, been ejected for unsportsmanlike conduct after the Chiefs did the ring around the rosies? And number two, Patrick Mahomes, MVP this year. Is this the best season that he's had in his career?
Called the snowball play, which is, I get it. Like I'd be ticked off too, but on some level, you have to respect how much fun Kansas City is having. Like Quinn Miners, though, the guard for the Broncos, was like, I just, all I want to do is beat the Chiefs, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, can I just say something? That ring around the rosy play, that was ridiculous. I'm like, dude, don't blame me that your team is miserable. Okay. I'd be miserable too if you lost to the same team 15 times. The Broncos have lost 15 straight games to the Chiefs. But like at some point, you're slogging through a 4-12, 4-13 season. They're 14-3. Okay. So they're having way more fun. You should be like, hey, how can't we have more fun than that? And I'll give the Raiders credit. They didn't give up a touchdown on a phantom holding call on that play, which was allowed Kadarius Toney to actually run it in on the very next play. So yeah, I would have been shocked if they had done something after that. But at some point, you have to just admire the fact that the Chiefs are willing to do anything, and they're having more fun than you are. Like that's winning is fun, and they're doing a lot of winning. As to Mahomes, yeah, this is his best season. I mean, let me just run through some of the numbers for you here, okay? He loses Tyreek Hill. This is, to me, why he's a runaway MVP. He loses Tyreek Hill, who I think we can all agree is, if not the second most explosive wide receiver in all of football. You can put Justin Jefferson ahead of him. I have no problem with that. But other than that, that's it. These are the two guys, okay? So last year with Tyreek Hill, Mahomes was 12th in yards per attempt at 7.4. This year without Tyreek Hill, his yards per attempt was 8.1. Last year with Tyreek Hill, he had 58 completed passes of 20 or more yards. This year without Tyreek Hill, he had 73 passes of 20 more yards. He lost the most dynamic, arguably the most dynamic player in football, and he became more explosive. I don't know how anyone else does that. And then you add in his second straight or his second 5,000-yard season. You know, he led the league in passing yards. He led the league in touchdown passes. He set the single season record for the most total yards, which includes a 6-yard reception, by the way, where it was bad and he caught it to himself. I don't know how you look at anybody else and say that he isn't the MVP.
No, 100%. And just if you look at the AFC playoff picture and all the teams in it, like the storylines and the intrigue to me is all the quarterbacks that are going to be in the AFC side. You bring up I'll bring up Justin Herbert, another dude who this season had to make it work without some of his pieces being on the field. And I think he's better for it. Trevor Lawrence is getting his first shot. Mahomes, of course, that we just said, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. If I had to have you rank between Herbert, Allen, and Burrow, 1 through 3, how are you putting that in?
All after Mahomes, you mean?
Yes,
because Mahomes is number one.
Yeah, Mahomes is one.
Number one.
Yeah, who's 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah. I would listen. The people in Buffalo are going to be mad at me. I would have to put Burrow there. All right. I've seen what he's done in the postseason. He's gotten there. I mean, it wasn't his fault that they lost the Super Bowl. I mean, they couldn't block Aaron Donald and all of that. So I have to put him next behind Mahomes. Then I would put Allen, and then I would maybe put Herbert. Although you could make a case for Jalen Hurts. I know we're talking AFC here, but I would have to put, it would be Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and then Herbert for me.
And then on the NFC side, you bring up the Eagles and their health, 49ers with Brock Purdy and their health, and they're getting some pieces back. And then Tom Brady, can he do it again? Even though to me, this is the least talented Tampa team that he's had. How do you see the NFC playing out?
Listen, San Francisco comes in on an unholy roll. They've won 10 straight. They're the only team I know that tells their quarterback, just don't screw it up. We got a good defense and a good running game. Philadelphia is really talented, but the way San Francisco is playing right now, they've been absolutely amazing. I think San Francisco is the team to beat in the NFC for sure.
There it is, Trey Wingo. Thank you for joining us, the Chief Trends Officer at Caesars Sportsbook. As always, Trey, thank you for the time.
You got it, buddy.